Last week. At my sister's luxury wedding. Worth more than I make in 4 years. I was handed a grey badge. Not gold. Not white. Grey. And printed on it were 3 words that changed everything. Restricted access guest. Then my mother leaned in, smiling for the crowd, and whispered, "Don't worry, Waverly, that just means no seat at dinner." No seat. At my own sister's wedding. The same wedding I had spent 3 years saving for. 3 years of skipping vacations. 3 years of reheating leftovers. 3 years of telling myself, this time, they'll see me. I was wrong. But what I did next, no one in that $15 million estate saw coming. My name is Waverly Palmer. I'm 32 years old. And in my family, love has always come with conditions. My sister Miranda. She's the success story. Harvard degree. Investment banker. Marrying into a family that doesn't just have money. They define it. Old Connecticut wealth. The kind that doesn't need to impress anyone. Because everyone already knows who they are. And then there's me. A mid-level accountant. Living in a one-room apartment in Queens. Window facing a brick wall. Closet that barely fits my clothes. The daughter my family doesn't introduce. Unless they have to. Growing up, I didn't notice it at first. Because when something is normal, you don't question it. Miranda's room was bigger. Her closet built-in. Mine. 3 plastic hangers and a metal rod. Her graduation. Catered party. Music. Guests. Mine. Let's do something small. We never did. But the moment that stayed with me. A photo. Still sitting on my parents' living room shelf. A perfect Christmas portrait. My parents. My sister. Smiling. And me. Gone. Cropped out. Frame was too small, my mom said. I believed her. For years. Until I was 18. Graduation day. I walked across that stage alone. Because my parents weren't there. They were out of town. Helping Miranda tour graduate schools. Her future is time-sensitive, my mother said. Mine wasn't. The only person who showed up. My aunt. Diane. She clapped louder than anyone else in that room. Took me to dinner afterward. And said something I didn't understand back then. They don't know how to see you. I spent 15 years trying to prove her wrong. Then came the engagement. A photo in the family group chat. Miranda's hand. Huge diamond. Perfect lighting. Wedding planning starts now, red heart hash. My mom replied in seconds. Best day of my life. I typed. Happy for you. No one answered. 2 weeks later. The invitation arrived. Thick paper. Gold lettering. A venue that looked like a palace. And that's when I made a decision. This time would be different. I would show up. Not just physically, but meaningfully. So I opened a savings account. Named it one thing. Wedding fund. And for 3 years. I built it. Dollar by dollar. Coffee at home. No shopping. No trips. Even stitched my winter coat instead of replacing it. Because I wanted to give my sister something real. Something that proved I belonged. 3 weeks before the wedding. I withdrew it. $10,000. Put it in an envelope. Wrote her a letter. And for some reason, took a photo of everything. The envelope. The check. The note. Like a part of me already knew. Something wasn't right. Because the night before the wedding, I got a call. And what I learned changed everything. The call came at 11:47 p.m. I almost didn't answer. But something about the timing felt wrong. Waverly, Sophie said. Her voice wasn't casual. It wasn't calm. It was tight. I need you to listen carefully, she continued. And don't react yet. My stomach dropped. Sophie wasn't just my friend. She was the wedding coordinator. Which meant, if she was calling me this late, something had gone very wrong. What is it? I asked. There was a pause. I was reviewing the final seating chart, she said. Last check before tomorrow. My chest tightened. And your name? She hesitated. It was there before. Before. The word echoed. What do you mean was? I asked. Another pause. 2 weeks ago, she said slowly. You were listed at table 3. Family section. Close to the front. Where I should have been. Today, she continued. Your name is crossed out. The room went silent. Crossed out. I whispered. Yes. And next to it. She stopped. What? I pushed. There's a note. My heart started pounding. What does it say? Sophie's voice dropped. Limited access guest. I couldn't breathe. And under that. No meal. The words hit like a physical blow. No meal. Not just excluded. Erased. Who wrote it? I asked. I can't say for sure, Sophie said. Then softer. But I recognize the handwriting. I didn't need her to finish. I already knew. A second later. My phone buzzed. A photo. I opened it. And there it was. My name. Struck through in neat cursive. The same handwriting that wrote my birthday cards. The same handwriting that signed school permission slips. The same handwriting that belonged to my mother. For a long moment, I didn't feel anything. No anger. No sadness. Just confirmation. Because suddenly, everything made sense. The phone call weeks ago. Send me the money early, she had said. I'll combine it with our gift. When I refused. This happened. This wasn't a mistake. It was a decision. A calculated one. They wanted my contribution. But not my presence. I'm so sorry, Sophie said quietly. It gets worse, she added. How? I asked. You weren't invited to the rehearsal dinner either. I closed my eyes. Of course I wasn't. After the call ended, I sat in silence. The envelope still on my table. $10,000. 3 years of effort. And tomorrow, I wouldn't even be allowed to sit down. The next morning, I called my mother. Kept my voice steady. I didn't get an invite to the rehearsal dinner. Oh, she said casually. That's only for close family. I paused. I'm not close family. You know what I mean, she replied quickly. Jonathan's parents have important guests. Important. The word stung more than anything else. I understand, I said quietly. Because I did. I understood exactly where I stood. Later that afternoon, I stood in my apartment, getting ready. Same small mirror. Same quiet space. But something inside me was different. Not hurt. Not anymore. Something colder. Clearer. I gathered everything. The envelope. The screenshots. The photo Sophie sent. Proof. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't walking into that house hoping to be accepted. I was walking in. Fully aware. I called Aunt Diane. I'm still going, I told her. I know, she said. Are you okay? I will be. A pause. Then she said something I'll never forget. Whatever happens tomorrow, don't let them make you feel small. I hung up, picked up my clutch, and looked at myself one last time. Not to impress anyone. Not to fit in. But to remember something important. I wasn't the problem. I never was. Because the next day, when I arrived at that estate, and they handed me that grey badge, I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I smiled. And decided to do something they would never forget. The estate was bigger than I imagined. Not just large. Impressive. The kind of place designed to make people feel small the moment they stepped in. Valet at the entrance. Crystal lights hanging from trees. Live string quartet playing near the fountain. Everything was perfect. Everything, except me. I stepped out of the car, clutch in hand, dress pressed, posture steady. No one stopped me at the gate. Not at first. It wasn't until I reached the check-in table that things changed. Name? The woman asked politely. Waverly Palmer, She scanned the list. Paused. Then her expression shifted. "Oh," she said. That single word told me everything. She reached under the table, pulled out a badge. Grey. Not gold like everyone else. Not white like the vendors. Grey. She clipped it onto a thin ribbon and handed it to me. "Restricted access," she said softly. Then added, "You won't have access to the dining hall." No emotion. No apology. Just instruction. I took it. Didn't argue. Didn't react. Just nodded. Because I had already seen it coming. Inside, the space was even more surreal. Guests in designer dresses. Men in tailored suits. Champagne flowing like water. And everywhere I looked, gold badges. Except mine. People noticed. Of course they did. Not openly. Not loudly. But in small ways. Eyes lingering a second too long. Whispers behind glasses. And still, I kept walking. Because I wasn't there to blend in anymore. I found Miranda near the center of the room. Surrounded. Laughing. Perfect. She turned when she saw me. And for a brief moment, something crossed her face. Surprise. Confusion. Then it disappeared. "Waverly," she said smoothly. "You made it." Like there was ever a question. "I did," I replied. Her eyes dropped briefly. To the badge. Then back to me. "That's just for logistics," she said quickly. "Seating is very tight." I nodded. I understand. Because now, I really did. Later, I found my mother near the bar. Same smile. Same posture. Same performance. "You look nice," she said. "Thank you." She leaned closer. Still smiling. "Let's keep things smooth today," she whispered. "We don't want any scenes." I almost laughed. Because she thought I was still playing the same role. The quiet one. The agreeable one. "I wouldn't dream of it," I said calmly. And I meant it. Because what I was about to do wasn't a scene. It was something else. As the ceremony began, everyone took their seats. Rows filled. Music softened. I stayed standing. Near the back. Watching. Not with sadness. Not with regret. With clarity. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't trying to belong there. The vows were perfect. Of course they were. Every word rehearsed. Every moment planned. Applause filled the air. And then, everyone moved toward the reception hall. Dinner. Toasts. Celebration. I followed. Until I reached the entrance. 2 staff members stood there. Checking badges. Gold badges passed through easily. Then it was my turn. The man looked at mine. Paused. "I'm sorry," he said. "You don't have access to this area." Of course I didn't. I nodded. Stepped aside. And watched. As everyone else walked in. My family. My sister. My mother. Not one of them turned back. The doors closed. And just like that, I was outside. Alone. Again. For a moment. I stood there. Holding my clutch. Feeling the weight of everything. 3 years. $10,000. A lifetime of trying. Reduced. To a grey badge. Then I exhaled slowly. Reached into my bag. And pulled out my phone. Because this was the moment. Not emotional. Not reactive. Intentional. I opened the folder. Screenshots. Photos. Proof. Then I looked up at the large glass windows. Where inside, the celebration had already started. Laughter. Glasses clinking. Perfect. I smiled. Because for the first time, I wasn't on the outside anymore. Because what I did next didn't just stop the wedding. It exposed a truth that no one in that room was ready to hear. I didn't rush. That was the difference. For years, I had reacted. Adjusted. Stayed quiet. This time, I moved on my terms. I stood just outside the reception hall. Glass walls separating me from everything they had built. And everything they had tried to keep me out of. Inside. Laughter. Music. Champagne glasses raised. Perfect. I unlocked my phone. Opened the group chat. Family. Extended relatives. Close friends. Even a few of Miranda's new in-laws. Then I typed one sentence. Before tonight continues, everyone deserves to see this. And I pressed send. Attached. Everything. The seating chart. My name crossed out. The note. Restricted access, no meal. The messages. My mother asking for the money early. And finally, the photo. The envelope. The $10,000 check. The letter I wrote. 3 years. Summed up in a single image. At first, nothing happened. Inside, the music kept playing. People kept talking. Then, one phone lit up. Then another. Then 5 more. Heads started turning. Whispers spreading. A woman near the front frowned at her screen. Then looked at my mother. My mother smiled. Confused. Until her own phone buzzed. She checked it. And everything changed. The smile dropped. Not slowly. Not gracefully. Gone. Miranda saw it next. She looked at her phone. Then back at my mother. What is this? She asked. Loud enough this time. Conversations stopped. People turned. The room shifted. Because suddenly, this wasn't a celebration anymore. It was a question. My mother stood quickly. This is inappropriate, she said sharply. But her voice didn't carry the same power anymore. Because now, everyone had seen it. Not a story. Not an explanation. Proof. That's not true, she added quickly. But no one responded. Because denial doesn't work. When evidence is already in their hands. Miranda stepped closer. You took her money? She asked. Silence. You told me it was from you. My mother didn't answer. And that silence said everything. Then something unexpected happened. One of the guests spoke. An older man. From Jonathan's side. This doesn't look good, he said calmly. Not emotional. Not dramatic. Just, clear. And in a room like that, clarity is louder than anger. My father avoided eye contact. For the first time. He had nothing to say. I stayed outside. Watching. Not with satisfaction. Not with revenge. Just, stillness. Because I hadn't ruined anything. I had simply stopped protecting their version of the truth. A few minutes later, the doors opened. My mother walked out. Fast. Controlled. Until she saw me. Then she stopped. You could have talked to me, she said. I tilted my head slightly. I tried, I replied. She shook her head. You embarrassed us. And there it was. Not apology. Not regret. Reputation. Always reputation. I stepped closer. Lowered my voice. You embarrassed me first. That landed. Because she knew it was true. Behind her. The music had stopped. The room was quiet. Not ruined. Just, changed. Miranda didn't come out. And that told me everything I needed to know. I reached into my bag. Pulled out the envelope. Held it out. Keep it, I said. My mother looked at it. Confused. I don't need it anymore. And for the first time. That wasn't about money. I turned. Walked down the steps. Past the lights. Past the cars. Past everything I had spent years trying to be part of. And this time, I didn't feel left out. I felt free. Months later, things looked different. Quieter. More honest. Miranda reached out once. Not to defend. Just to understand. My father stays silent. And my mother. She tells a different version of the story now. But it doesn't matter. Because I'm no longer part of it. I moved. New apartment. Better job. A life that doesn't need approval to exist. And sometimes, late at night, I think about that grey badge. The one that said I didn't belong. And I realize something now. They were right. I didn't belong there. I belonged somewhere better. Bullseye final rehook closing. So let me ask you. Have you ever been treated like an outsider? in a place you were supposed to belong? And if you had the chance, would you fight to stay, or walk away and build something better? Because sometimes, the greatest thing you can lose is the place that never truly valued you, and the greatest thing you can gain is yourself.